Hey, this is Sasha. Thanks for joining me in today's video. What I want to share with you today is, should you have only just one YouTube channel or should you go with two YouTube channels? I'm going to give you some thoughts and insights about this, and we're going to start right now. All right, so you might have seen a lot of different people out there on YouTube. One of them have one big primary channel, and then they go ahead and create kind of a vlog. Or maybe just some people that have two different types of industries that they're kind of interested in. So should you really just go with just one YouTube channel, or do you need two YouTube channels, three YouTube channels? How many YouTube channels should you really have? So I want to give you some thoughts to think about as you get into this. So let's go to the paper here. And when you go into these YouTube channels, you have to recognize that the work amount of one versus two does multiply, but it's not as bad. So let's say you go ahead and you're starting a YouTube channel. Typically what you'll need to do is, well, content is one of the biggest things that takes a ton of time. Not only do you have to plan, prep, create titles, research, depending on how detailed you get into things, it takes a lot of time. On top of that, you also have maybe thumbnails, you have a website to manage, maybe clients, so now you have a newsletter that you go with, and there's just so much more that go with it. Maybe you got other kinds of things like branding is a little bit different. So you have some things that you need to do as far as setup goes. Now, once you go into the second YouTube channel, well, some of these things could be replicated. So for example, let's say the website, maybe the website looks similar, so it might require only about 20% of the work because the posting is just the different content. But as far as the design and structure, you could almost duplicate. The thumbnail, once you have kind of a basic template, this could just be duplicated. Again, it does require a little bit more work, but it could be similar. So when you look at some of these things, they do cross pollinate or overlap to some degree. Now, other things, they just don't. It's just very difficult as far as content goes. If you're having two different channels, the content needs to be original. You can't just put the same exact content on two different YouTube channels. So you have to create new content for the second channel. And not to mention your clientele. Does your clientele overlap? And this is where our biggest picture comes in, is that do you have one YouTube channel or do you have two? And that really comes down to the overlap that you really have. So I want you to think big about your channel and think about more or less about your clients, because this is really where the big picture is. This is your target market. This is your demographic. This is your audience. So when you look at your clientele, or in other words, your audience or viewers, how well do they overlap? Now, for me, as you know, I have a business channel, which is the channel you're kind of looking at right now. And we have our clientele. Now, I also have, if you haven't seen, our channel when it comes to stock trading and investing. And if you go ahead and check that out, you can see Traders Fly right here. And we do quite a lot of different things when it comes to stock trading and investing. Now, this YouTube channel is actually, at the moment, much more popular than the Backstage income channel. But nevertheless, there is some overlap to some degree, because people who run a business eventually do want to invest or maybe stock trade. So we do have some overlap, but it's not enough to the point where, hey, I want to just put the same content all in one channel, because this is a very specific market and this is a very specific market. If the overlap was much more, let's say I go ahead and I'm talking about business here. Well, now all of a sudden, if I have online business, well, that overlap might be quite large. And in that case, I would put those things together, right? If I'm talking about, let's say, email marketing, again, that overlap is pretty big. So looking at how big is the overlap is really what I would look at where I would separate these things. And if the overlap is more than 50%, then you could keep it together. If the overlap is, let's say, less than 50%, you could go ahead and split it. And really, you're looking at your audience. Okay, is the audience that's interested in business, email marketing, also going to be interested in stock trading and investing? Maybe some, but not necessarily most of them. How about into ebooks? ebook covers, affiliate marketing, those kinds of things. Are they going to overlap to a great degree in stock trading or investing? Probably not. Maybe a little bit, but not in a large part. So as you look into these kinds of things, you can start looking at let's say we go to another level of 3 YouTube channels. So here we have our business, here we have our trading or investing, and then maybe we also have, let's say, personal finance or money. So people that are interested in, let's say, retirement. If people looking to get out of debt or savings, they're trying to save more money, they're more thrifty, they do overlap in business, they overlap in maybe trading, they overlap all 3 of them. But when you look at it, they all kind of have their own demographic, because people who are trying to get out of debt are probably not investing money. People who are trying to get out of debt, they might be trying to start a business. People who are trying to save money might be trying to start a business as well on the side hustles. They might be trying to invest a little bit, but not full-fledged like trading. So you got some overlap in a lot of areas, but if they're not big enough to be the most or the majority of the audience, then it's good to kind of split your channel and go ahead and split those kinds of areas, because you have an audience that's completely different. And now what you could do is, if you have a split multiple YouTube channels, what happens is it allows you to really cater offers, allows you to cater products, allows you to really just focus in on that audience group and make offers that are higher converting on your end. So think about that as you go into it. Of course, there is more work that's involved. You have to go ahead and create more content. You have to do a lot more postings, but some of the things will overlap, especially if the websites look very similar. And I'll show you here on my website, when you take a look at, let's say, Backstage income right here. And let me pull it up. And if you look at this design, the way that it looks, and just the overall function of it. And what you do is, if you take a look at my little nest egg, which is the personal finance end right here, it's also very similar. And we're continuing to kind of evolve this site and this network. But again, it looks similar to this website in a way, because the coding is similar in that respect. Anyways, I hope you found this video helpful, gave you some thoughts and things to think about as you go ahead and maybe think about expanding the future realm of your YouTube presence, or maybe your YouTube channel. So don't get too crazy, because it is a lot of work creating and publishing content, especially if you're trying to engage frequently, once a week, even twice a week. There's a lot of content that you need to produce, and you need to be able to produce enough of it, whether that's from yourself or from a team, to be able to engage your audience and have enough content that goes out into the World Wide Web. But if you don't, then of course stick to one, and then go ahead and expand if you believe you have the room, the capability, the tools, and the know-how. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. In the end, feel free to subscribe here to YouTube, or get some of those freebies that I have on my website by clicking the link over here. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.